Chapter 5 The Ritual. The dance and ritual were going to take place in an area called the terrace. It was the big space Claire and Adrian saw when they were entering the mountain. The heliport area also serving as the terrace for special events and celebrations. Many people were already gathered there once they arrived, artists and celebrities among them. The dance and ritual are very important events for most people you see here. They plan their whole year around this. Some of our guests are wealthy, and some are low income people we helped to come. They are all waiting for the message. Orpheus said to Adrian while he was leaving to go and greet some of his guests. Please get yourself and Claire comfortable. We will start shortly, he added and left. Have you seen the people here? Claire asked. I have never seen so many important people together, Adrian said, looking around. My brain is still processing all this information we were just given, Claire said. I know. Mine too, love, Adrian said. There was a display of men playing with firewalls, with the rhythm of the music. In the middle of the terrace, there was an enormous bronze vase. It had symbols that were different from the others they had seen. The Gaian symbol Orpheus had on his wrist and on the center of the maze. There were other symbols with stars around, and some like the ones they saw earlier in the mural at the Pemajangsi monastery. It seemed like a map with symbols and directions. The vase had a soft flame inside. Musicians were playing in the background, and 12 gold cushions were placed around the vase. They realized the vase was placed on top of a massive golden rock that was rounded. The vase was perfectly well balanced. Impressive view, said a voice behind them. It was Sick, with a warm smile of happiness to see them. Sick, how have you been? Claire asked him. I was talking to some friends about the dance. Some of them received guests from very far away places. It seems every year more people come to this celebration, Six said. Definitely. It is an interesting event to witness, Adrian said. They knew people's eyes were on them and the significance of their presence there. Did you like Mr. Adam? He is a very good person, Six said. Yes, he is a very nice person, and we had dinner with him and his wife, Adrian said. Oh, Mrs. Eurydice, she is a very nice person too, Six said. Do you know how that vase was placed on top of that rock? Asked Adrian while admiring the rock with the vase on top and being completely still. Nobody knows, but there is a saying that the gods place the vase on top of the rock to provide balance, and someday they will return to move it again, Six said. Adrian and Claire looked at each other as if they were both understanding each other's thoughts. After all the information they were just given, it wasn't difficult to imagine gods placing the vase on top of that massive and heavy rock. The noisy crowd was quiet. Music kept playing, and dancers came out dressed with impressively elaborated robes, embroidered with golden threads, and wearing long black capes with a hood. They were dancing at the rhythm of the music while 12 bold men appeared. They moved around the vase 7 times to sit on each cushion. Once seated, they closed their eyes. The music was beautiful, and some people in the crowd were also following the melody and singing. Claire felt as if she heard that melody before, but she couldn't remember where or when. The music comforted her, and she felt a warm sensation on her chest. It was a sensation of love, but a kind of love she had never felt before. Tears came out of her eyes, and Adrian saw she was crying and hugged her tightly. The energy of the place was palpable, and people were definitely concentrated on the music. Some people had their eyes closed, while others were enjoying the dance and the view around the mountains. Claire and Adrian kept recognizing faces of celebrities, artists, and politicians who seemed to know what to do in the logistics of the dance and ritual. They were pretty sure it wasn't their first time there. Adrian and Claire looked up, and the sky started turning dark. Thunders started to be heard in the distance, then coming closer with a louder sound rumbling between the mountains. As the thunders increased their intensity, the fire inside the vase increased and went up, showing the flames burning into the wind. There was no moon, and the dark night was painted with a heavy color that was contrasting with the lightning every few seconds. The flame was producing sparks in the air, and the sound of thunders was so frequent that the music became inaudible. Claire and Adrian looked around, and people seemed to be having a good time and enjoying the scene despite being at risk of getting a huge lightning strike. There were definitely several safety hazards around, but people seemed to be relaxed. Claire and Adrian were the only ones worried about it. Zeke was behind and gave them a signal that everything was fine and there was nothing to worry about. He signaled the vase whose flames were burning with great intensity. Claire and Adrian looked towards the burning flames inside the vase, and suddenly two figures appeared. They were hugging each other, a male and a female. They started looking around people, and the multitude kneeled in front of them. The female figure extended her hand towards Claire. She looked young and happy, and was holding the male guy on her other hand. The wind started to twist and produce a small thin and silver cord that extended all the way from the young woman inside the fire to Claire. When the cord reached Claire, she was surrounded by a silver aura all around her body that gave her complete ecstasy. Adrian tried to reach out to Claire, but his body wasn't responding and he couldn't move. Instead, he started feeling calm. He felt an unusual happiness. Claire was being blessed by whoever was emerging inside the fire. He felt love and joy. The male figure started speaking and people kept their eyes closed while others were looking directly at him. He said with a hoarse voice that echoed in the mountains, "Princess Makala is arriving soon. I am staying for a while. It's time to prepare for the Great War. The time has come." Then people started to close their palms and place the fist on their chest with pride. And the same symbol Adam had on his hand was shining on everybody else's hands. The young guy in the fire looked around with pride, as if he felt pleased to see all of those people there. And he posed his eyes on Adrian and said, "Your task is the biggest of all. Remember that, Adrian." Adrian was speechless. Suddenly the fire disappeared and the figures with it, leaving the place in complete darkness without any sound. The thunders and lightnings were gone. The music started to play again, and people were talking to each other as if making preparations. Claire was breathing heavily as if she jogged up a steep mountain, and Adrian came to her side and held her hand. Then someone said out loud, "You heard the prince. We need to prepare for the Great War, the moment we have all been waiting for." Other people started to talk at the same time until everyone there was talking and commenting about the message. The place became loud and there were voices everywhere around. Zeke came towards Claire and Adrian and looked at Claire's face that seemed to be pale. "Are you all right, Mrs. Hearn? Let me take you back to the hotel so you can get some rest." "That would be nice, Zeke. Thanks, I need to rest," Claire said. Adrian held her hand, and they walked down with Zeke towards the exit. From the distance, Orpheus and Eurydice were observing them walking and getting into the car.